Look, I know exactly why you're here. Your math test is right around the corner. Maybe you have a week, maybe just a few days, and you've got that familiar pit in your stomach. You're staring at a mountain of notes, wondering how on earth you're going to cram it all in. Well, take a deep breath. You are in exactly the right place. In this explainer, I'm stepping in as your personal study coach. We are absolutely not talking about pulling all-nighters or chugging energy drinks. Instead, we're going to look at the absolute smartest, most efficient ways to hack your brain for this final stretch, completely based on modern learning science. I've got a concrete, science-backed emergency plan just for you. Okay, let's dive into this with a question that might actually surprise you. When you sit down to study math, does it feel easy? Like, do you read through your notes, look at a solved example in the textbook and think, yeah, I get it, that makes total sense? Well, if your answer is yes, I've got some tough news for you. If your studying feels super smooth and easy, your brain is actually falling for an illusion. It's called the fluency illusion. You recognize the words and the numbers, but your brain isn't actually storing that knowledge for real. Researchers actually have a name for the fix to this. They call it desirable difficulties. It basically just means that feeling uncomfortable equals really good learning. If you're struggling to remember a formula or you're just staring at a blank piece of paper trying to solve a problem without any help, your brain is working incredibly hard. That feeling of frustration, that is literally the feeling of your brain building new, permanent connections. When you actively struggle, you create much stronger, long-term learning than when you just passively read along. So from here on out, we're going to embrace that resistance. Here is our game plan for today. First, we'll talk about why you need to stop reading and start calculating. Then, we'll uncover the secret of mixing up your practice. After that, I'll walk you through a specific 7-day study plan. Next, we'll cover sleep and focus. And finally, exactly what to do on test day itself. All right, let's kick things off with part 1. Stop reading, start calculating. So, here's the massive difference between what most people do and what actually works. On the left, we've got the classic trap, highlighting text, rereading notes, and staring at the answer key or solved examples. When you do that, you're letting the book do all the heavy lifting. Your brain is essentially doing nothing. Now on the right, we have the absolute holy grail of studying math, calculating with a closed book. Solving the problem yourself, from scratch, completely without the safety net of the textbook. The research is crystal clear on this point. Doing the math with a closed book is vastly more effective than just reading how someone else did it. The most absolutely crucial concept here is something called retrieval practice. Basically, it's the act of actively trying to pull information out of your brain rather than just trying to stuff it in. The real skills this test measures, like logical reasoning and picking the right method, are trained best when you actually do the calculations and explain them to yourself. Listen, even if you try and get the answer totally wrong, the simple act of attempting it builds a much deeper understanding. You only check the answer key after you've given it your best shot. You know that aha moment when you realize exactly where you went wrong? That is when true learning happens. Moving right along to part 2, the secret of mixing. Usually math textbooks give you 10 identical problems in a row. You know the drill, 10 geometry problems about area and then 10 algebra problems. But doing 10 identical problems in a row is actually a huge trap. By problem number 3, your brain is totally on autopilot. You aren't even thinking anymore. Instead, you need to jump between completely different types of problems in a single study session. Do an algebra problem, then a geometry problem, then maybe some statistics, a function, and finally end with a brand new algebra problem. You've got to mix it up. Now, why is this so crucial? Because on the actual test, the hardest part usually isn't the calculation itself. It's identifying exactly which method you need to use in the first place. When all the practice problems you're doing are the exact same type, you don't even have to think about it. But mixed practice, also known as interleaving, forces your brain to look at a totally new problem and ask, wait, what kind of problem is this? What tool do I actually need right now? It trains the exact muscle you're going to need on test day. Sure, it's going to feel a bit messier and harder in the moment, but remember, that's one of those desirable difficulties we talked about. Okay, on to part 3, your 7-day plan. This whole plan is built on an absolute, undeniable truth in learning science. 45 to 60 focused minutes of studying a day is vastly superior to cramming in a blind panic for 7 hours on a Sunday. This is called spaced practice. By spreading out your studying over the week, you're actually giving your brain the time it desperately needs to process and properly lock in all that new information. All right, here is your exact day-by-day battle plan. Day 7 is diagnosis. Take a full old test completely without aids. Mark what was easy, what was hard, and what was just total gibberish. This is pure retrieval practice and shows you exactly where to focus your energy. Day 6, Weaknesses Part 1. Pick 2 or 3 weak areas from that diagnosis, do 5 problems per area, but remember, mix them up. Day 5, Weaknesses Part 2. Another round on those weak areas, but this time, explain out loud to yourself or to a friend why a method works, not just how. This builds that really deep reasoning skill. Day 4, Mixed Test. Do half of an old test, completely mixed up, grade it right away. Day 3, Revisit. Go back to those specific problems you got stuck on during day 6 and 7. Resolve them. I promise they should feel a little bit easier now. Day 2 is your dress rehearsal. Do a full old test under strict time pressure. And finally, day 1, the night before. Keep it light. Solve just 2 or 3 super easy problems to get into a good flow and build up some confidence. Then, stop early. You're done.
Which brings us perfectly to Part 4, Sleep and Focus.
8 hours of sleep. Listen to me on this one, because so many people miss it. Sleep is not a waste of study time. Sleep is study time. Getting your 8 hours is basically the night shift, where your brain actively takes what you practice during the day and permanently locks it into your long-term memory. And science shows it's the sleep you get throughout the entire week that really counts. 7 hours of sleep and 2 hours of studying will literally always beat 9 hours of studying with 0 sleep. And hey, if you toss and turn the night before the test, please don't panic. The stress about not sleeping actually hurts your performance way more than the lack of sleep itself. Just close your eyes and rest. Now, to fiercely protect your focus during those 60-minute study sessions, we have got to eliminate the ultimate focus thief. You might think putting your phone face down on the desk means it's put away, right? Wrong. A whole part of your brain is actively working overtime just to ignore it. Multitasking is a total myth. Having 10 tabs open with a vibrating phone makes you twice as slow and literally halves what you actually remember. So, put the phone in a completely different room. Work intensely for 25 minutes, get up, drink some water, and then come back.
And now, the final stretch. Part 5, on test day.
Here are 3 super practical steps for the morning of your exam. 1. Eat breakfast. Your brain burns a massive amount of calories during a test. A quick sugar rush just isn't going to go the distance. Oh, and drink water too, because even the slightest dehydration totally crushes your concentration. 2. Read through the entire test first. Hunt down those easy questions and knock them out immediately to build momentum and secure some quick points. If you hit a wall on a hard one, just skip it and come back later. And 3. Show all your calculations. Always. Even if your final answer turns out completely wrong, you can almost always snag partial credit if you show that your underlying logic and method were actually correct.
I want to leave you with one final, absolutely crucial thought. This test does not define who you are. It really just measures what you can demonstrate on one specific day on these exact specific problems. Nothing more. Follow the science, embrace those desirable difficulties we talked about, trust your 7-day plan, and walk in there knowing you have prepared in literally the smartest way possible. So go ahead and close those extra tabs, go put your phone in another room, and let's get started. You've totally got this. Good luck.